camera. Once again, you put it on. Let's see in case if it works.
I think the laptop itself it has a lock.
Yeah, you are visible. Thank you so much, sir. Please, sir, over to you.
All right. As been said, my work is actually focusing in how to use nanomaterial, nanotechnology in environmental remediation application, basically in water treatment, which I'm going to introduce some of it to you today, which is a pleasure to do that. So generally speaking, we just need to have a look on how big is the problem of wastewater and water contamination. So if you look at this map, it's highlighting how many countries globally they have access to drinkable tap water. So we have just few countries, like maybe 50 countries, they can have like access to drinkable tap water. Most of them in North America and Canada. Look at our part in Africa. Mostly none of African countries has access. Most of Asian countries, they don't have access, except few, to drinkable water. And if you look at this study, it's made by some international organization, you will find in some countries like US and Canada, about 97 out of 100 people, they have access to safe, drinkable water. If you look at in some countries in Africa, like in Chad, for example, you will find like 6 out of 100, they have access to safe and clean, drinkable water. So it's actually, it's a very challengeable problem we are facing, and water means life. Actually, if you look at this in the right hand, you will find that actually unsafe water, it's causing death far more than natural disasters or conflicts, which is really requires our full attention to trying to resolve this issue. So whatever efforts we do is actually have an impact. So our research focuses on handling the main pollutant in the water, which we can be like heavy metals or some kind of organic compounds or pathogens. And we know the sources of this can be like industrial, with the development of industrial and the lack of treatment and management of wastewater coming out from these industries. It can be then mixed with the sewage wastewater, and it can make the problem worse. Also, organic pollutants come from industry, from pharmaceutical, and the pathogens come from the sewage and other source of pharmaceutical sewage wastewater. So one of the techniques we use to synthesize some nanomaterials called electrospinning technique, which helps us to prepare membranes with specific characterizations, with specific surface area, specific function groups that can help us achieve the treatment we aim to. So simply, this technique is, or this type of...
Sorry to interrupt.
I mean, did you see the first 2 slides? I was talking about... Yeah, okay.
So, sorry, sir, for interrupting you, but...
absolutely. Our societies and our health. And we've been mentioning the main components that we aim to remove or treat in the water treatment with heavy metal pathogens and organic compounds. And now here I'm just delving to talk about a technique we use to synthesize a material. Is a membrane. It will look like this at the end. So we have this setup. We have a syringe pump, and a power supply, and we inject the solution with the power with this syringe pump and applying the voltage, high voltage here, so it can convert this solution into a nanofiber. And I have an video which I'd like to share. Maybe it will make the idea more, understandable. So here is how this fiber is made. So the solution.
So the video is not. No, sir. Sir, please stop your screen share.
And now the solution starts to come out, and the high electricity overcomes the tension, the surface tension of this drop of solution, and then the fibers start to come out, as you see. And then we collect this fiber and use it in our applications, in very different applications. It can be used in medical applications. It can use in environmental application as well. And some people will ask, okay, this is very little amount. What are you gonna do with it? So I also have another video to share. This is how they produce it in a larger scale, actually. So they have many syringe with electricity applied in it, and then you can get a huge, big piece of membrane in a even commercial way that you can be used in different applications. So this is a large scale production. So now we back to our presentation. Just I would like to, because I know sometimes it's hard to visualize. So it's better to see some videos to explain that. So we take this fiber, we engineer the fiber to the purpose of application. So application can be filtration, can be for protective clothing, for scaffold engineering, for medical applications, enzyme immobilization, drug delivery, and even energy applications. How we use that membrane in heavy metal removals? So we try to engineer the surface of these materials. We have, of course, adsorption based on physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. So physical adsorption means you stop the pollutants from going through the membrane, while the chemical adsorption, you have some like chelating or function groups that adhere or catch the pollutant and just doesn't let it go through the membrane. So we try to design the membrane with a very high surface area and with as many as we can of function groups that can help us catch more of these pollutants or heavy metals. And here is one example of these materials we engineered in our lab. So we have the polymer, and we have a template, and we mix them together, and then do the electrospinner, get this product, and do some post-treatment to remove the template. So we have the porous structure, and we have the function groups that can catch the heavy metal. And then we do the application for the copper, for example, one of the heavy metals, toxic heavy metals we can find in water. These are some characterization we do to understand the material. So we look at the porosity. So we have pores. How big is these pores? So these pores, for example, is around 8. So this is in the mesoporous range, which is desirable for these applications. And it's also having a high surface area. So, and then we do the application. We have water with cover, and we immerse this membrane in it, and we measure before and after some time. So after 40 minutes, we found that this membrane can actually capture about 500 milligrams by each gram of this material in 40 minutes, which is really good performance. So in another work, we tried to find some naturally existing organic polymer, and we tried to functionalize and improve the surface area of this material. So we got cellulose cellulose is a very common polymer come from plants. And we took that polymer and we added this amine function groups to the surface. And we did some post-treatment to improve the surface area. We got the function groups confirmed by the characterization. This is the FTIR that tells us the function groups are there. And we did some other application performance to see how this material behave in different pHs. And we also studied the capacity for removal. This was about 1900 milligrams per gram. So this is the amount of heavy metals removed by each gram of this material. And we also did the recycling if we can reuse the material, and the efficiency was kept a bit quite high, from 98 to 95 or 94%. So it's a little bit of drop, which is normal. And we also tried to study this material in a continuous flow experiment. So we have a setup, we have the membrane, and we take the water, go through this membrane and come out, and we check it in different many cycles, and we found the performance is quite sufficient. Another technique we use is to remove the organic. So that was how we deal with heavy metals. Now we have the organic pollutants. One of the techniques we use to use sunlight, visible light, to break down these organics, which is economic and green method and can be applied in many countries that have the sunlight. The mechanism actually is very simple. So we have a conductive material like titanium oxide. When this material is exposed to enough photon or energy come from the light, there is an excitation take place, and the electrons leave the state, the normal state, and jump to an active state, leaving behind a hole. This is very active, can produce hydrogen peroxide, a radical that can break down those organic pollutants to produce carbon dioxide and water. With the help of that electrode that has traveled to the surface, also producing oxygen radicals can join in the reaction. So we have done this some research in that. We used carbon nanofiber with one of the semiconductor tungsten oxide and the visible light. So we mixed the precursors, the polymer, with the semiconductor salt, and then we've been through the electrospinning again to produce a fiber. And we took this fiber and we did thermal treatment to convert the polymer into carbon material in inert atmosphere. So we have this material by the end. So this is a fiber, but it is actually a carbon fiber. And if you look at the surface, you will see, I don't know how this can, anyway. Opportunities for reactant to take place on the surface of the fiber. So of course we after we synthesize any material, we have to do some characterization, and this is one of the important characterization for photocatalysis to see how the material absorbs the light. So because it actually, the more it can absorb the light, the more it can react and degrade the pollutant. So we have this is the bare carbon nanofiber, and this is the one we engineered, so we can have very good performance in the whole range of the light wavelengths from the UV to the visible. And we have a very good surface area, and we have also some other functions that can help improve the catalytic performance. The surface area was like double the surface area of the bare carbon nanofiber. And this is the application. So we took this fiber, mix it with we got our organic pollutant. We use a dye, so we can see it by our eyes. We can easily detect it by the spectrophotometer. So we mix the water that has the pollutant with our material, expose it to the visible light, and we take samples every some minutes and measure the concentration of the dye. So as you can see, the dye can be degraded, and here is a visible image. Like in several minutes, like in 10 minutes, we can get rid of all of the dye in the water. We have used different kind of dyes to confirm the performance. And here is one of the we try to enlarge our setup. So we have, this is the UV lamp, and this is how the water, the wastewater, this is real wastewater, come from textile wastewater. We did this project in a cooperation with industrial factory in China in 2015, I believe. And we have done this experiment in their lab. We took the water, goes through our system with the material inside here, and then it comes out clean like that. And you can see the fiber is on the top here, so we can remove it, take it back, put it in the system. So it is reusable, and it's really efficient. We also try to develop a material that can degrade the organic pollutant and at the same time can disinfect the pathogens in the water. So now we're tackling the pathogen in the water. So we have engineered the fiber the same way, but with different components. We have the fiber before and after carbonization. So you can see the fiber, how it looks like. And this is under the microscope. So you have these white spots. These are like the pores created during the thermal treatment. And these black spots, it's silver dot on the surface. It's a very uniform and evenly distributed on the surface. The function of the silver here is to do this disinfection and also to help in the catalytic performance. So we have the semiconductor inside the fiber, and we have the silver on the top of the fiber. The silver to disinfect the bacteria and help in the performance of the degradation. So as usual, we do the characterization to see the performance of the material in physical and chemical characterization, and this is the performance in the visible light. And also the surface area improved from 400 to 700. And then we do the application. So this is the dye removal. Within minutes, we can get rid of these dyes, and we can recycle the material with stable and good performance. The disinfection actually happened by the silver mainly, which travels to the surface of the membrane of the cell, break it down and get into the cell inside and damage the nuclei of the cell, and the cell then dies. So silver play one role, and also, if you remember with me, the radicals come out from the catalytic reaction also play a role in killing the bacteria. So here how we took our material and we mix it with the water that have the bacteria, and then we plate it on the plate, as you see, and expose it to the light. And you can see after some minutes there is no growth of the bacteria in the petri dishes. And here we did also to confirm this result. So we did the zone inhibition test. So this is the material in the dark, the material with the silver in the light, and you can see the bacteria cannot grow even nearby the membrane, which confirms the disinfection ability of our membrane. And here is how this fiber, this one, imagine this a single fiber, and it has a semiconductor. The semiconductor, once it is exposed to the light, takes the energy, moves from the state band to the conductive band, and the electron, because this band is short, so we have the silver that can play a role here in reserving this electron from coming back to the hole. So the silver plays actually a double role here for sustaining the photocatalytic reaction and disinfecting the bacteria. By doing this, we have the radicals. These radicals are the main responsible for degrading the organic pollutants, and combined with the silver can kill the bacteria. Also, we have another work we did with another technique called Fenton-like catalyst. We use one material called metal organic frameworks, which I'm gonna go through now. So we tried to in this project we tried to come over some problems we know with traditional Fenton reaction, which it depends on. It has to be used in a very specific pH, requires pH control, and we also this reaction produces a lot of waste. So you're treating the water, and at the same time you produce a lot of sludge, a lot of waste, which needs to be treated or dealt with. So we need to overcome these problems. So so this is how actually Fenton reaction works. Please remind me if I'm running out of my time. I can
no, sir,
summarize.
Sir, you have time, sir. Please feel free.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So we have the ferrous, and we have an oxidation agent H2O2. When they mix together, so this ferrous become ferric, and then start to produce these radicals again. So these radicals we have seen before in the photocatalysis. This is another way to produce these radicals, and this is a very common technique used in industrial wastewater, but it actually requires a specific pH, 3.1, and produce a lot of sludge, which actually it's a secondary pollutant and cost to deal with. And the catalyst you add actually consumed, it comes out with the sludge, so you cannot reuse it again. So it's also a cost. So what Fenton like, we try to enlarge the window of the pH, so we're not limited to this pH, and no sludge is produced, and we need the catalyst to be reused, so this can be more economic and environmental friendly. One of the most emerging material is metal organic frameworks, and simply this material is composed of two main things: organic linker, link metal nodes. So these are metals are linked together with organics, making a void. This structure gives us very unique properties of extremely high surface area. It can reach more than 3,000 square meter for each gram of this material, and you can also still modify it, add function groups or change function groups, so it's tunable to the application you need. So it has a very wide range of synthesis method. Can be hydrothermal or microwave or electrical synthesis, and it has a lot of good properties like the surface area, the porosity, tunability, crystallinity, and it can go into many other applications. The separation, environmental application, and medical application as well. So we try to explore this material in water treatment. So if you look at different type of this material can go and can serve in different application. So it can a specific type it can serve in absorption, so you can get clean water. It can serve in photocatalysis. It also can help in cleaning water and degrading the organic pollutant. Here is removing the heavy metals. It can also be used in energy production. So what we try to study here is we have developed one material based on iron, because it's one of the main elements used in Fenton reaction, and its function with amine group. So we have this material has iron and amine group, and to have a benchmark to compare with, we have this same material but without the function group, the amine group, to know the role of this function group. And also we have a benchmark material with aluminum, Al, instead of iron, to also to know the role of iron in this reaction. This is a synthesis method. We have the, as I simply said, we have the organic linker and the metal salt, mix it together. We put it in this reactor. This reactor gives us a high, when we take it and put it in an oven. So the pressure increase, we have a high pressure and like high temperature. The synthesis take place in like 24 hours. And then you have the 3 types of MOFs produced. So we do the characterization to study our material and to confirm we have the targeted material with the targeted function groups. So we can see, for example, here is the function group which we have mentioned. We have 2 materials have the function amine group. So you can have a reflection here in the FTIR for the function groups. So this is the 2 with the function groups, amine group, and this doesn't have the function group, so it doesn't reflect in this analysis, for example. And we targeted one of the organic pollutants. It's called rhodamine B, which is carcinogenic and non-biodegradable and broadly used in many industries like textile, leather, plastic, and drug industries. And also we used a textile wastewater to confirm our applicability and feasibility of our material to be used in industrial wastewater treatment. So we first found that the material has a very high capacity for absorbing the pollutant. So at different pH, from 3 to 11, from acidic, very acidic to very alkaline, the material can work and remove with a high performance in adsorption reaction. And we try to increase the concentration, and still the material can work. The more the dye you can, still the material can absorb more. And we also studied if we change it, the amount of this material, the dose of the sorbent, we found that at a minimum, a medium amount, like 0.5 gram per liter, we can have the optimum performance. We also compared the 3 materials. So we found the one with the iron and amine, as we hypothesized, has a higher absorption performance, was the highest. And this is a visible like performance. So you can see the material with the amine group and iron group has better performance in the absorption comparing to the other 2 materials. And here is the performance with numbers. So these numbers can tell us which material has better performance in absorption. Then we studied the degradation. So first we see the material has a good ability to absorb the material from the aquatic environment, from the water. But actually our aim is not just absorb. We need to degrade, to break down this material into carbon dioxide and water. So we then started to do the Fenton reaction. So we added our material, we added the H2O2, and then we measured the performance at different pHs. So as you see, the material can work fine even in a very alkaline pH, which is one important achievement, which now we can tackle the problem of limited pH to 3.1 of the traditional Fenton. And then we studied if we added how much oxidation agent we need to add. And we also compared the performance of the 3 materials we have, and we found the one with the amine and iron showing the best performance of like complete degradation within like 5 minutes. And this is a visible like visualization of the performance. As you see, in 5 minutes we can get rid of the dye comparing to the other material. We still have the high concentration of the dye even after like 10 or 8 minutes. And this is also, we apply a kinetic to tell us in a number the constant rate of the reaction. So we have the different pHs, different H2O2, and the different materials. You can see that the one with amine and iron has the highest performance. One important measurement is to study the recyclability. As we mentioned, in traditional Fenton, we cannot reuse the catalyst, but here we actually can use. So this is 5 cycles collecting the catalyst and reuse it again, and the performance is still good. We studied the leaching of iron also during the reaction, because we know our material has iron, and this is a very strong reaction. It can cause leaching of some of these iron into the solution. Actually, we found there are some leach of iron, which also was actually good for the reaction. It still can help in improving the performance, as I will explain later. So also we look at the material before and after. So we look at the microscope to see the material before and after. It's still intact and in good shape. And also we did other, like we call it EDX, to see the elemental analysis still there. Our element is still there in this material. After the 5th cycle, yes, it's still there, and it still can be reused again. This is the FTIR, also tell us the structure. The amine group is still there, so the material is still working fine. And we applied the material, not only checking the color, but checking the total carbon. So this gives us an accurate, accurate result about the real performance. Not only because the dye maybe disappear, but still some organics is there. So we study the total organic carbon using the same dye, and we can say we get rid of like more than 85% of the dye, 90%. And for the real wastewater, you can see after 30 minutes also we got like about 80% removal of the total organic in components and in the wastewater. This was the textile wastewater, and this is the control, and this is after 30 minutes of running the reaction.
Ahmed Taha sir, you have the next 5 minutes. So because the lecturer has already joined in, so just giving a reminder.
Okay, very good. So also we look at the dissolution of iron to study the mechanism. So we add 2 different materials, isopropyl and benzoquinine, in different experiment. We stop in isopropyl, it stops the OH radical from the reaction, and the performance is still good. And the other material or other chemical we add to stop the OH, the oxygen radical from the reaction, and the reaction is still can work fine. So we can confirm that both the OH radical and oxygen radical are combining and doing both working in the integrating the organics, but more with oxygen radicals. And we compared our work with other people, and we found we are actually have better performance compared with other reported material in similar application. So the material has a good ability to absorb the pollutant on the surface, and that give a very good advantage to let the catalyst work in it and break it down within the Fenton reaction on the surface and within the media, with the iron leached into the water. So that is the reason we had a very, very excellent performance. This is a setup for the testing. This is in real wastewater. So the real wastewater goes through the column with this material, and then we collect the water, and then goes through another column to get rid of any residual of H2O2. And that's it. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm welcoming any questions if you may have.